an angel and a demon back there just fighting. I don't know what they're fighting for. It could be for all of Earth, for all of the heavens, but they're just chilling. We don't need to bother them. They're fine. So this is Crystal Saga 2, and it's an alpha, and it's not great. Like right off the bat, it's a browser-based MMORPG, so you know the quality of it is going to be. Is there an official term for it? Garbage, basically. So we're gonna walk past, you know, the Archangel Michael and Lucifer over there, just battling it out for Earth, and go instead to this grandpa dude, the big old hammer, and he's gonna teach us. He's gonna tell us how to open our inventory. You know, this is actually something I haven't mentioned with a lot of these MMORPGs, but they like incredibly overcomplicate so many aspects of the game. Like, why? So every once in a while you'll see like that little stat attribute thing, right, where you can like add certain points to your stat line, whatever. So the origins of that, if you don't know, actually started in most things in MMOs and RPGs and all that, started in Dungeons and Dragons. I believe it was Dungeons and Dragons. It might have been an earlier board text adventure game, but anyway, so it started in that because like you created this character and you build up your very own character, and it was so like tied to you, in like every stat mattered, right? So when you were crafting your character, you carefully distributed it, right? And that was your character. Like if you had 20 strength and I don't know 5 perception or something like that, then you'd be like a really strong but dumb character, right? So like I think it's weird that the stat numbers have carried over to modern games, right? But they didn't keep what was interesting about it in the first place. It's like, so I'm just this is a minor rant, but I mean it's a minor thing that turns into a big rant. But I see that a lot in these kind of games where you just kind of assign stats willy-nilly, and like all your equipment has a whole bunch of stats, and then like your abilities have a whole bunch of numbers. I don't understand why there's so much back end. Like, see, like you got this whole skill screen with like 10 paragraphs of. Why can't you just tell me like, yo, this sword ability right here, it'll hit a fool and it'll hurt him, right? That's all I need to know. Or meteor strike, man, it can attack a faraway person, right? I'm just, and like this kind of game is clearly going for a certain type of demographic, which is younger. So it's not for them, and I don't get it. Why overcomplicate things? Anyway, so I get on this goofy looking dumb turtle thing, and I'm going around, and this is a carbon copy of like every other browser based MMORPG out there. I don't understand, like, so you're creating a new game, Crystal Saga 2 Alpha. This is a new product, and yet it's just exactly the same. I don't get it. What are they trying to do? What is the point? And I tried to figure out like forever what's going on here. And, like, so they don't actually auto path and auto attack. I actually had to like path to my next objective and then right click a monster. What is the travesty? Why have all the trappings of like. Why have the trappings of every other terrible browser-based MMORPG and not drop the one thing that makes it at least bearable? If at least if you're auto-pathing and auto-attacking, like, and I've said this a million times, but at a core problem, it has design issues where it's just, if you had to have auto-path, it's never going to work out. It's never going to be an interesting or fun game. But at least if you have it in a game like this, I can leave it to the side, look over every once in a while, and see my character going through all these different environments and facing kinds of different enemies. But now that I actually have to like do it but it's still like designed with auto path and auto attacking in mind. I just don't get it. And I don't think this game, I don't think it's like you can say, oh well, it's an alpha, it's gonna go through a lot of change. I think the core fundamentals of this game are already established, and they're not going to be changing on that. I think it's possible it could go through the alpha, the beta, into full release and actually be a game worth taking a look at for most people. But I seriously doubt it. At the very least, it doesn't look terrible, it doesn't sound awful, plays at a moderately acceptable level. But in my opinion, average just isn't good enough in this genre. You can play an average indie platformer because they're very light. It's like a salad. But to want to get into an MMO, you have to be above and beyond the Call of Duty. And I don't think this game does that. And also, another thing, like, the beginning of this game was terribly designed. So, if you look at, like, a game like Final Fantasy VI, right? In the first couple minutes, you're fighting people, you're introduced to this world and these characters, and you're running from the get-go. In this game, it takes you, 10 minutes just to start getting into anything. You start off with a bunch of text, and then you start distributing stats and opening up inventories. I don't want to do all that. I want to get to fighting. I want to get to the meat of the game. So to start off with it has underlying game design core problems. I feel like people who design these games have no idea what makes a good game. What makes a game good, I should say. They carbon copy. They copy someone else's code or something, paste it on their own game engine, and then throw a bunch of pretty pictures on there, and then somehow they're going. I don't know if they're profitable, but they're making money at least. Somehow. I guess if you throw enough free garbage at the wall, some of it will stick. And I'm going off on a lot on this game, but really just this whole genre in general. And this game is it's a new game, and it's still doing the same BS that other games do. Except that it doesn't do anything better. If you told me this game came out a decade ago, I would totally believe you. Yeah, so there's not anything to say about this game. Yes, it's an alpha. Is it going to get better? I seriously, entirely doubt it. I don't think this game is worth an iota of your time. And also, I don't think there's enough of a community either to at least have that aspect of it. There's nothing interesting about this game. It's new, it's an alpha, it's a new beginning, and it still does nothing. It's designed around auto-pathing and auto-attacking, but took it out for some reason. It's like people complained about it, but then you didn't change how the game actually functions. And the story is completely non-existent or whatever. It's just, this game is garbage. Don't waste your time.